We're running tons of obscure speed games back to back to back. My name's Kefka14. I am joined on commentary by my good friend Cyanide Gunner, or Cy. Say hello.
Hello. That is me.
Alright, so for those of you who are unaware, this is a Nintendo 64 game. It's a Japanese exclusive game, part of a trilogy, actually. It's quite a good speed game as well. The 100% category is very, very obscure, I guess you could say. It's not even been a real category for less than a year now. With that being said, let's just dig right into it, and we'll get to talking about the game and the various mechanics and stuff. Let's dig right in. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thanks for the good luck. Okay, so starting off immediately, the prologue is pretty uneventful. Just, you know, a lot of preemptive stuff, kind of setting some groundwork for the basic movement in the game. Like a lot of 64 games, it's a platformer. The first two Doraemon games sort of try to emulate Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time, whereas this one's honestly more like Bomberman Hero, in that you just kind of go like level by level and have various goals to achieve. There's a lot of... Yeah, go ahead, Si.
I'd agree with that. Like, Doraemon 2 especially is a lot more Mario 64 than this. This feels more, not free roamy, but it feels a bit more open, rather than like world by world, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the most interesting thing about this game as a speedrun, though, is all the various items that are required to progress throughout the game, and sort of how the inventory mechanic works, which we'll get into that more when it becomes relevant. Here in the prologue, as far as the story goes, basically, our main character here that we're playing as, this is Noby, and Noby's town has been transported to sort of like an alternate dimension, and we gotta save the town. Everybody's like encapsulated in some kind of weird goo, and we gotta save them. But right out of the bat here's our first level, and we're going to immediately grab this green item, which is called a spray. Cy, explain how sprays work, please.
So, the way sprays work are, you use 5, they're like random collectibles throughout the game. There's multiple places to get them. Some are like static that respawn when you reload the room. Some have like a 50% chance of dropping when you kill an enemy. And the way it works is, you need to collect and redeem 5 sprays to like redeem an object in the inventory. So like you need 5 sprays per item, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And we won't be using every item in the game, but we'll be harvesting and like farming these sprays in order to be able to redeem every item in the game, so we can see them in the inventory. Like in that inventory there, you just saw the door, which we use to walk between stages and stuff.
Another thing worth mentioning is there's 2 levels in the game that are extremely dark. There's an item you can use to brighten the area and make it more visible, but it takes time to use that item, so as such, we're not even going to bother. I actually have the brightness turned up on my screen. I apologize for that, but this is a speed run, so, you know, we're going to go fast.
Also, you'll see Kefka there picked, I think that was one of the keys?
That's a key, yeah, that first silver key there. Part of the 100... Go ahead.
There are, like, how many keys? 26 total? Something like that?
There's technically more, but some of the keys despawn depending on which keys you've picked up previously. Which is very bizarre, but it just is what it is, I guess.
So, those keys are used to, like, open chests and things. We won't be opening the chest, but we will be collecting 16 silver keys and 10 gold keys throughout the run. You'll see there's the first gold key, and we already collected the first silver key before. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably the more difficult part about this run, though, in general, is just item management and having a solid route for collecting all these sprays, because one part of the 100% requirement is actually redeeming every item in the game, even the ones we don't use. And as such, we got to collect a lot of sprays in this run. There is one section later in the run, in fact, where we'll be doing a lot of farming.
We'll point that out when we get to it. It's a fun little farming spot. It's a nice, it's what, 2 minutes or something. You just walk for a bit.
I don't know how long the farming section is actually. Now that you mentioned it.
We'll find out, I guess.
Yeah, we'll find out.
It's significantly shorter than it used to be.
Yes. The old way we used to farm. What? Ah, no! I slid down the thing.
Ah.
There we go. The old way that it used to be done was there was kind of a section towards the end of the game where you could farm a couple sprays, but a new location was found by a Doraemon runner named PD4FR that works really well, and we essentially take an intentional game over to continually respawn the sprays. So here we're going to make our first character switch, actually, and we're going to be switching over to Doraemon, if you want to kind of explain some of the character differences, Si.
So, mostly the difference is, like, revolve around movement speed. Doraemon's actually the fastest swimmer in the game. I know he's faster, like, at this point I don't know if he's fastest consistently throughout, but we switched to Doraemon here because he's the fastest swimmer, and we're going to swim a lot here. We'll be switching to more characters later on. At the start of World 2 we switch.
Yeah, and Sai was correct. At this point in the game we only have two characters, Doraemon and Noby. Doraemon is the fastest swimmer at this point in the game, so we're going to be playing as Doraemon for this stage and the rest of this world, just because it's not really worth it to switch characters again for what little bit of movement we do in the final level of World 1.
There's a lot of, like, minor, like, weird speed tech like that, like just switching to specific characters at specific times, grabbing certain sprays and certain auras. Like, it's a lot more precise than you'd think for a game this obscure, I guess, which is on theme. Like, the folks that run this game have really sort of nailed down a lot of optimal movement and routing.
So you notice there I kind of scooted into that kind of piece of geometry there, which more or less just sort of launches you downwards, kind of a underwater zip, if you will. But we're going to redeem our primary weapon for the run. Now we will be redeeming every single item in the game, which is part of the 100% requirement, but we won't be using them all, depending on how useful they are and if we need to use them. But in this situation here, this item, or weapon, is our main weapon for the entire run, the Faint Bang Grenade, or just the grenade. But we're already on to the boss area of World 1, which is pretty cool. Honestly, the music in this game goes way harder than what it has any business to.
There's a lot of music like that on the N64, but I agree that Doraemon 3 soundtrack's just really good.
Especially
some really good music in this game.
Especially the boss music, and when we get to the boss music,
definitely.
We'll shut up for a second and just kind of let it play, and we'll jam for a minute.
Get all the dance emotes in chat. I really like this stage because it's like, I know it's like sort of a meme to hate on water temples and water dungeons in games, but I really like the aesthetic here. Visually, it's really pretty. It's all blocks and stuff because it's the N64, but
very easy key to forget right there.
Yeah.
You can make it back to this before that elevator goes back up, but it's a little bit tricky. I don't even think the world record actually makes it to that platform in time.
This stage actually weirdly reminds me of the Hooktails Castle, Thousand Year Door.
We're just gonna leave that guy behind.
Yeah, just walk past him, it's fine.
Alright, here's the first boss. I'm not sure what the boss's name is canonically, but I'll be quiet. Check this music out, it's really good. Taking damage is definitely not really a big deal in this game. As I said, we're going to be taking an intentional game over later, which requires killing all of our characters. We're doing it for the sake of farming sprays. But that's World 1 finished. We will be revisiting later to get some 100% stuff that we couldn't get on our first visit. But now we're on our way to World 2, and we're going to be switching to Sue, who is the second fastest character on land. Alright.
So we'll be switching to Sue here.
I'm gonna be farming a decent bit of sprays in this stage as well. The old route saw us really only farming just a couple sprays here, but we're gonna take advantage of some of the large amount of sprays that exist in this level early on, so that we can eliminate a bit of farming, and we'll get to see a little bit more of the game that way as well. So even if it's a tiny bit slower, it'll be entertaining at least, right?
Exactly. Now, if I remember correctly, the farming happens in 2-3?
That is correct. Farming happens in 2-3.
We'll be able to see that soon.
So you'll notice I killed an enemy there and it dropped a heart instead of a spray. I'm not really sure what the exact odds are for getting a spray versus a heart drop. It's not really well researched. But with that being said, hearts are pretty useful anyway, especially in a long run like this. We'll be able to use them to heal if we need to.
Yeah.
So the object...
Well, if anybody...
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So the object of World 2 is to essentially destroy a bunch of like computers which are powering a barrier around the boss level of World 2. And you'll see me go into sort of a final room area like I did just a few moments ago, and I blew up just an object. But this stage is unique in that there's actually a couple sprays we can grab down here after we sort of finish the level requirements. We've taken a bit more damage than I would prefer, but it's not a huge deal.
Yeah, you seem fine on health at the moment.
You know what? We're leaving him behind. We'll just take the damage, and we'll move on. Now we're going to the volcano level, which, in all honesty, is probably one of my favorite levels. It's just very aesthetic, and it's quick and easy. We're going to be redeeming the fan weapon. This item in any percent only has one use, which you're about to see, but in 100% there is an additional sort of purpose for it. And here you go. That's the only thing it's used for in any percent, is just sort of wafting that lava plume there. A good candidate for a potential skip, honestly, down the road.
Yeah, this game feels like it's got a ton of potential for stuff like that. Just random skips and glitches and all sorts of nonsense.
So you'll notice that there's a bar, or sort of a meter on the top right of the screen. Basically, it's just it's kind of like a heat stroke meter, I guess you could say, where we can just get too hot and die. There's an item you can use to make that go away, and we have, it's infinite, essentially. But we're going to move so fast that it really doesn't matter. So we're not even going to bother. And as you can see, when we entered this room here, the meter went away, which resets it as well, so not a big deal in the slightest. So the reason I waited there instead is because we're kind of on a cycle here anyhow, and there's not really much of a point in trying to move past that, because we would have to wait here anyway. And if we took damage from that flame there, it would push us off the edge, which is obviously not a good thing. We would have to do the whole level again, pretty much. We're coming up to the end of this level, which means we're about to get to the big farm. And that'll be riveting, let me tell you. Alright, moving on to level 2-3. So 2-3 has always been one of the more technical levels in the speedrun, for one reason or another. It used to have kind of not a difficult trick, but an interesting trick in it. Nowadays, it's the farming level for the whole game. And you can see I just grabbed 2 sprays on a bouncy thing there. Keep those in mind. We'll be circling back to those. But first, in this level, we need to come in here and we need to revive this computer by using this first aid kit. If you notice, all the items are in our inventory already, but there's like blue, purpley stuff kind of around them. Basically, they're covered in like an intergalactic goo, and these spray items I'm picking up more or less just give us the ability to get the goo off of the item so that we can use them. Very strange mechanic in terms of inventory, for sure.
This game is very strange like that.
Alright, coming on through here, we are going to blow up the computer and grab this single spray, and now the big farm begins. I'm going to go ahead and double check and see how many sprays I have. 38. Cool. Small time loss, but I really want to know what we have to work with here. There's 38, 40, 43, and we're going to immediately take damage. This will automatically warp us back to the previous loading zone, where we can sort of just continually farm. And we're actually going to get an intentional game over here, and we're going to be farming a lot of sprays. So everybody get nice and comfortable. And anybody hear any good jokes lately?
You know, the worst thing is I did hear a good joke, but I can't remember it.
That's fair. So notice when Sue died, we just switched over to Noby, and that's pretty much the play here. We're gonna switch on over and just kill off all of our characters and collect as many sprays as possible. And we're gonna be redeeming a lot of items in this level, in particular all the items that we're not going to be using. We do still have to purify all of the items in our inventory, regardless as to whether we use them or not. So it's pretty important that we purify pretty much all of those as soon as we can, just to sort of get it out of the way and kind of eliminate clutter in our inventory, so to speak, and we'll be able to see what we still need to redeem that we actually have to use for progression in the game.
It's crazy because like last time I looked at this game before the marathon, the farming route was different before this as well. Like, this game has changed so much in the past, what, 6 months?
Not even that, honestly, the last, I would say, 3 months.
Kefka, PD, and Ananya in chat just sort of going ham on this game.
I don't think Ananya's ran the game yet, actually. I could be wrong on that. I'm not entirely sure, actually, though. So yeah, we're gonna just keep collecting sprays until we game over entirely.
I was supposed to keep track of how long you farm. I think it's been about 1.5 minutes, almost 2 minutes. I think you ended the started farming at 1440. I think.
PD, luckily for me, PD's in chat, so PD can answer a question. How many sprays do I need to leave this level with, PD? I know we max out the count once. And then, after that, I'm not really sure. Oh, we got a joke. We got a joke in chat. Oh, I missed the sprays. That was weird. I've never seen that before.
I'll read the joke out whilst you're farming.
Perfect.
There's a funeral. The best friend of the deceased approaches the widow. May I say a word, he asks. She tearfully nods, so he goes to the microphone, clears his throat and says, plethora. He acknowledges the gathering, walks back down. The widow comes up to him and says, thank you. That means a lot. That's a good joke. I enjoyed that. Also, PD says they need 59.
Perfect. So now we're just kind of going through and purifying all the items that we're not going to actually have to use for progression at a later point.
Some weird items, like an eye, some random halo. Is that a pipe?
I do believe that's nearly everything.
Leave with 59, grab 11 on the path during the remaining levels.
I think I redeemed one extra there on accident. It'll be alright. We're gonna go ahead and... Oops, wrong menu. We're gonna go ahead and redeem all the weapons in the game with the exception of one that we'll be redeeming later.
Is that wallpaper?
It's like a... You know those like strips of things you can throw under a car tire to make its tires go flat?
Oh, like sort of like a bed of nails kind of thing, like roll out nails.
Yeah, it's one of those, except it also it explodes as well.
Of course it does.
Yeah, of course it explodes, right?
So this is based on like an anime, isn't it, Doraemon?
No, it's definitely an anime. It's one of the more popular animes in Japan, for sure. It's existed for many years, actually.
I've always seen, like, Doraemon, the character, like, around the internet since as long as I can remember, and I've never really known anything about him other than that he's a blue robot cat thing.
So we're more or less just collecting the last sprays we need here, and we're going to be sacking Doraemon in the process. We don't need him for the run. You can notice his movement speed is quite slow, but he has a lot of health, which makes him good for a situation like this where we're taking damage to farm an item.
There is actually another character that we'll get to see at the start of Stage 3, but we are not there quite yet. Also, I agree with Mike in chat. All the best things explode.
And then there's actually 2 characters in the game that we're not even going to play as at all. Which is, you know, that's fun.
Is it just because they, like, are just the slowest characters?
In one of those cases, yes. In the other one, they're essentially the same speed as Sue, but we get them so late in the game that it kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go
so
ahead.
So switch to them would be extra time save for extra time loss for no reason.
We're gonna go ahead and sack Doraemon, and looks like we need to get a couple more.
Yeah.
Need to
Seems big.
leave here
15 more-ish.
59. So there's 49. So 2 more farms, and we're good to get on out of here.
I think you've been farming for about 5 minutes, 6 minutes.
That sounds about right.
Which is... What's crazy is that's faster than the old route by, like, at least 2 minutes, I think.
Oh yeah, and I did it badly.
It's like significant time save.
Alright. We're finally done with farming, meaning we can actually play the rest of the stinking game.
Rip Doraemon indeed. Don't forget the keys in the Stage 2 boss. And the gems.
Normally you would switch characters there, but I decided on a whim to not, so that we could keep Sue's health on her.
Probably good for safety strats as well.
Alright, so in this level, there's kind of a series of puzzles you need to do, which require collecting these crystals. We're not even really gonna bother with actually completing the puzzles, but the crystals themselves do appear in our inventory, so we still need them for the 100% requirement. There's also a couple keys here that we gotta grab, and we are still gonna be getting some sprays that are just directly on our path as well.
I like to think of these crystals as the Doraemon equivalent of the Chaos Emeralds. Just the stage that reminds me of that one stage in Sonic Adventure 2. Like the factory thing. Where you've got to collect the Chaos Emeralds.
So here we get to use an item called Clouds in a Can. We gotta hit this switch. That was really good. I nailed it, actually. That's actually a much trickier bomb throw than what it looks like. We're gonna come over here and grab this gold key. And then we're gonna move on to the Area 2 boss, and at this point we're booking our way towards the end of the game, and all we really need to worry about for the most part is collecting keys. This is what the boss I like to call the Gundam. We are gonna see this boss again later, but in a slightly upgraded form. This boss is pretty interesting in that recently we discovered that if you fight it too well or too fast, the game soft locks. So part of beating it means intentionally going a little bit slow, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, it's rare that actually it's not that rare. It happens in speedrun quite a lot where you've got to be intentionally slow to make like a faster cycle or wait for like an enemy or like. It's rare that if you go too fast the game soft locks. It's weird that they thought that far ahead to like, if this happens, crash the game, pretty much.
Alright, we've entered phase 2. The Gundam can go into sort of one of 2 kind of patterns here for the second phase. More often than not, this is the phase you'll see, and honestly it's what we hope we see. The other pattern it can do is quite infuriating and irritating to deal with. But that's
It's gonna be a good fight.
It was pretty good. Alright, on to Area 3. Area 3 is a little bit different. The game starts to sort of open up, for lack of a better term at this point, and we have to revisit some past areas and such. But the very first thing we're going to do, we're actually going to switch characters to the character with the fastest movement speed, which is Sneech, who we'll be playing as for most of the rest of the game, with the exception of one level, or if Sneech dies. If Sneech dies, we'll just play as someone else, you know, for the sake of it. Hopefully we can keep Sneech trucking, though. But we gotta make one little brief stop in this house here to grab this silver key. And then we're gonna go into this house over here. And we gotta talk to a person that I like to call the mayor. I don't really know who they actually are. We have to use this ID card to go in here. And we come over here and we use what I like to call the purple antenna. And we leave. And then
it's worth noting that this game is the Japanese exclusive. Like, this game was never released in the US or Europe, I believe.
That is correct. One thing that's really interesting about this game to me is there's correction. There used to not be basically any English resources for it at all. It was very difficult to even figure out how to beat the game. When I first started running it, there were no English guides. The one English guide that there was on Game FAQs was quite literally just the instruction manual, but translated into English. And it was quite difficult to figure out how to even beat the game. I had to, you know, go through a series of translators and such. Alright.
What made you pick up this game?
I started running Doraemon 2, and then I discovered there was a third one, and was like, oh, cool. So right there, I just grabbed an item that looked like a bunch of grapes. That item doesn't serve a real, like, kind of permanent function in the game. You can trade it with these little sort of dog NPCs who will trade you yellow hearts for it. The yellow hearts are a completely optional item that we don't need at all. Crap, what is it? What do I use here? I don't remember. It's this. It took me a second. Anyway, the items themselves are completely optional, and but we still need to collect one of those bunches of grapes so that they'll appear in our inventory to meet the 100% requirement. I also used another item, if you noticed, and it sort of cleared the fog in this area. When we leave here, you'll notice that the level itself appears a little bit differently on the world map after that. And that's also one of the 100% requirements, is the world map sort of needs to be in its final state, if you will.
There's various points in the game where the map changes. Like, there's a stage where we drain the lake, and that shows up on the level select screen.
That's incorrect, I think.
Wait,
I think. I think. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. Is there another key here? I hope not.
No, according to my notes. Grab grape, gold key, kill thing, use fog machine, grab silver key. You've done all that.
Oh, the other silver key. That's what I was thinking of. Cool. Excellent. Alright.
And then there's the 2 gold keys in the boss.
So now we're going backwards into World 2 again to visit this city very, very briefly. And we're going to talk to this NPC in here, and she's going to give us a crystal. And that's all we need. And then we're going back to World 3, into the city in World 3, and we're going to give the crystals to the mayor that we talked to earlier. That's going to get us an item that will allow us to get another item. Tons of MacGuffins, in other words. We got to give one MacGuffin to begat another MacGuffin, who begats more MacGuffins.
Wouldn't be a platformer on the N64 without MacGuffins.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why we love them.
One weird thing here, though, is this guy gives us an item, but it doesn't give you an indicator that you received anything. It's the only item like that in the game. No idea why that's a thing. This level here is quite a bit different than any percent because we don't purify the water. it's part of the 100% requirement to do so. But in any...
This is what I was thinking of with the lake before.
Yeah. But it doesn't. It's not a requirement in any percent. So we end up taking some damage boosts and jumping through the swamp and such. It's honestly a little more entertaining to play in 100%. If I'm being completely honest. As you can see there, we picked up an amulet. And now we are moving on, to the last water level. And this level is very straightforward. There's no keys or anything we need to collect. We're going to jump into the water as Sneech, but then we're going to switch to Sue because Sue is the fastest swimmer in the game by a decent margin. Yeah. Another item I'm using here, the submarine cream, it essentially just allows us to dive deeper underwater. We used it earlier in the run as well, but I didn't really make a mention of it.
How is the swimming in this game? Is it as bad as the rest of the N64, or is it just...
On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it like a 3. Maybe
on a scale of Mario 64 to Majora's Mask?
It's definitely in between the two. You'll also notice that I warped out of the level and we're going to re-enter it. It's because it's just simply faster to not swim back up through that sort of tunnel. But unfortunately we do have to use the sub cream again, as it kind of cancels the fact that we used it in the first place, which is sort of unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Honestly, this has been a pretty solid run so far from what I can tell.
It has. It's definitely been a tad scuffy, but nothing major. Nothing's been forgotten. So then we're going to the final level of World 3. We're going to be switching back to Sneech. And we're going to be equipping the grenade for the boss fight coming up. But we got a few things to do in this level. This level is vastly different in 100%. We got a couple keys to collect, and that requires us to sort of travel all through this stage. But there's one gold key. I believe there's only 2 gold keys, if you wouldn't mind to double check that for me, Si.
Only 2, yeah.
Only 2 gold keys. Most excellent.
Yeah. I don't know what it is with like N64 games and mixing like desert with lava. Like,
yeah, have you ever seen an actual desert with lava in it? Like an active volcano, but in a desert? Like, is that a thing?
I think it's just the relation is that they are both hot things. That's it, I guess. And the colours sort of work well together.
We're waiting here for this platform to start moving. Oh my god, I fell off of it and we're stuck behind it! We gotta wait again, no! That was cringe. Well, yeah, we're just gonna leave
this one, yeah.
We're just gonna leave this way.
I love that the, like, platform pillars have got one of the characters' faces on it. Like, the pushing pillars. Just got random character's face on it.
You'll notice I walked on the edge of the bridge there. That's because the bridge itself has these sort of pitfalls in it.
So this room coming up, if I remember correctly, used to be the old farming room?
That is correct.
I mean, you used to just walk backwards and forwards in this room. Very good, however many minutes.
I'm gonna grab that extra spray there for safety. And now we're on to the boss. Best I can tell, I haven't forgotten any keys, which is my largest fear, honestly, in this run.
Did you get both of them here?
I did.
Okay. Yeah.
So this boss,
I really like this boss's design.
Yeah,
Sorry.
It's a pretty weird boss. This is one of the few bosses that can heal itself. And part of doing it fast means trying to kill it before it heals a second time. Which, honestly, I doubt we'll be able to do.
Yeah, it's a lot harder than it looks.
I sort of screwed up some damage at the beginning of the fight, which kind of messes up everything later on, as far as that goes. Yeah, he's definitely going to be able to heal a second time. Oh no, he didn't.
Oh?
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we got the quick kill. Cool. That's a good point, PD. We really should switch to collecting that other crystal berry. It's a little bit closer. Crystal berry being the bunch of grapes I mentioned earlier. So we're getting oops, I forgot to skip the cutscene. Nice. We are about to go into the last world here. The last world is extremely involved at 100%. We got to sort of do cleanup and kind of collect all the things that we haven't collected so far. And more specifically, there'll be a lot of villages we're going to end up going back into, and NPCs and such we're going to talk to. I wanted to grab one extra spray there for safety, but I'm fairly certain we're okay. Back at the beginning of the run, I mentioned that there was some dark areas that you couldn't see. This is the only other one in the game. There is a key here, though, which I just collected. To sort of explain what's happening, because I know it's so dark you guys can't see this area. It's sort of just a series of switch puzzles where we activate some moving platforms. And there's actually some pretty tricky cycle skipping going on, but you can't see it. So that's entertaining, right?
It's great. How much slower is it to get the item that lights the place up? Or use the item that lights the place up?
If you were to use it both times, you'd lose like 10 or 12 seconds, maybe more.
That's crazy.
It sucks, right? So this is kind of the last true traditional level in the game. Level 4-2. We got one key we need to collect here. Although, it is worth mentioning that there's kind of a sort of like a hidden mechanic in the game, where some keys, if you collect them, it causes other keys to despawn and no longer be able to be collected, which is really bizarre. And there's one extra silver key in this level, for the 3 people out there that are aware that it exists. That, I don't know why I did that. Big mistake there. Anyway, that we're not going to collect at all. And the reason we're not going to is because it's quicker to not collect it so that we can get a different one later that normally despawns if we collect the one in this stage. Very silly, very strange, very bizarre mechanic as a whole.
We don't even know why it works or happens either. Like, it just sort of does.
It seems entirely arbitrary, honestly. I think we have too many sprays, which, good problem to have.
Honestly, knowing the N64, just because it's arbitrary, it looks arbitrary, probably means it's like highly specific and like very, very like well thought out in terms of code. Because, of course.
Yeah, there's several keys in the game that function that way, and it's very strange. As such, we're not, as a community, we're not even sure if we've actually found all of the keys in the game yet, either. It could be possible that every 100% run on the board, which, as of this one being finished, that'll make 2. But it's very possible that more keys are discovered. This
reminds me of that one category in DK64 where they found like a hidden coin after like 16 years or whatever it was.
And that's totally possible in this game, which is pretty interesting in terms of just finding new stuff, because there's just so little documentation. So we're on to there's 2 boss levels in the final world here. This first one's very straightforward, but if you notice we went to a village before we came here. That's one of the areas that we actually don't even go to at all in any percent. And one of the reasons I really like this category is that we actually get to visit every area in the game, which, you know, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Showcase off more of the game.
So the object in this area here is to destroy these sort of computer tower things that are inside of these portals. The very first one we have here is a water area, and we redeemed a new weapon there. I don't know what the technical term for this weapon is. I've always called it the water gun. It's one of the few weapons that you can use underwater. We really only make use of it twice during the run. Once during a boss fight that's coming up, and the other time you just saw there. And we're moving on to the boss of this area, which, for those of you who have been paying attention, this boss should look a little familiar. It's Doraemon, and he's been turned evil. This boss has a couple phases, but it's mostly easy. I like to call this robot, like Dr. Eggman Doraemon or Robotnikmon or something, like essentially flying around in a similar sort of thing, or maybe like a Koopa clown car almost.
So, is this actually Doraemon been turned corrupt, or is it like a clone?
It's actually Doraemon turned corrupt. Doraemon is not in our party right now. Once you enter World 4, Doraemon leaves your party, and sort of the first chunk of World 4, the overall goal is to, I guess, purify Doraemon, for lack of a better term.
I'd love to be able to understand Japanese because I've got no idea the plot of this game, other than like basics.
I'm in a similar situation, and perhaps a non-yai can help us with that.
Yeah.
So far, this boss fight has honestly went terribly. Normally, this boss fight goes really well for me. This is one of my stronger fights, but not this time around. It's been pretty awful. All right, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and use a heart, heal up a little bit, just for good measure.
Yeah. Honestly, even with like the small mistakes and stuff, this is still a really solid marathon run.
Okay, now we're going backwards to level 1-1, I do believe.
Yeah, Sunbasket.
Sunbasket. So we could have done this way earlier in the run, but it turns out to be very slightly faster to just do it now, which is sort of bizarre. But basically, it just makes the level appear as we need it to on the world map. As you'll see, it's going to change the appearance of the stage. You can see the cherry blossoms and such. Then we actually have to revisit this level. There's a cutscene that sort of explains why, but the true final area of the game, we need a spaceship to get into, but we don't have a spaceship, but lucky for us, a spaceship crash lands here. This is also where we get the final character, which we're probably never going to play as, unfortunately. But it is notable that the character you do get here can sort of be used as like a backup if Sue and Sneech die, because they're quite fast. Alright, and then we gotta visit... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, I know what I'm doing now. Jesus Christ. I got completely turned around there in my head for a second. I know that I still need to go back to Area 1. Don't let me forget, please.
Yeah, one T for 2 silver keys. 1 T for 2 silver keys.
Yep.
In church and behind church.
But first, I need to go talk to the alligator people. We'll get to what the we'll get to those guys. Anyway, first we grab a floppy disk from that first guy, and then we give the floppy disk.
We'll see
to
the
this
alligator
guy.
people later.
We're gonna see them here in actually just a few seconds. When I first started routing the any percent route for this game, it took me forever to figure this out, but you have to come back here and talk to this one NPC to proceed the story. Like that. And I was stuck here for the longest time when I was trying to sort out how to actually beat the game. Okay. So this item here is called the Translation Gummy. It allows us to talk to different NPCs and such.
Does that include the alligator people?
That includes the alligator people, which is where we're at right now. And we got to get 2 keys here. Our first one's a gold key in this house.
You know what this reminds me of? Weirdly. Did you ever play Star Fox Adventures?
I did.
It reminds me of like the dinosaur people things from Star Fox Adventures.
Please let this be the right house. No. I do not... I've went to the wrong house, meaning we are completely turned around now. In terms of Oh, there it is. Okay, that wasn't that bad. That wasn't that bad. Second house.
Yeah.
All the houses look the same. It's pretty easy to get turned around there. Anyway, then we come here. Actually, no, we can just talk to him. I've already redeemed the items. Then we come in here. This guy's going to give us a big old crystal, which we're going to use in a little bit to get our final weapon, which we'll need for something. But first, we're going to backtrack all the way to here, or 1T, the town, and the first area. There are 2 keys here we need to get. First key is in this sort of church, cathedral-y looking kind of place, but we do have to use the translation gummy so we can actually talk to these NPCs, unfortunately.
Is that like, that's like a cute little penguin guy.
Yeah, or like a, I think they're supposed to be owls, but I'm not really sure. Alright, 2 keys there. Then we gotta visit the town in the second area, and there are quite a few keys here. This
5 silver and 1 gold.
Yeah, this area here is sort of involved as far as the speedrun goes.
Again, this reminds me of a very specific thing, and that's that one episode in the original Pokemon anime where Ash and the gang get shrunk down into a doll's house.
But first, we have to activate both of these windmills.
I don't know if that's just a May thing, though.
We use the shrink ray, and now we're actually shrunk down.
It's convenient.
And there are 6 keys here, which is this area has more keys than any other area in the game. Oh, I got turned around a little bit there. There we go.
You could say there are a lot of doors in Doraemon 3.
Haha. Oh.
There's a joke for you. Like 30 minutes late.
Alright. Then we go in the blue house. There it is. And then we go...
That's 3 silver?
And 1 gold.
Yeah.
Do I need to use the translation thing? I'm gonna assume that I do. Anyway, what's interesting is this guy gives you 2 if you talk to him. Then we gotta make a stop here. And use the crystal to unlock the final weapon. I think I should now have everything in the game. 16, 10, yep, we're good to go. So we have officially met the 100% requirements. I'm going to double check my inventory, make sure everything's purified.
And that is one of the requirements for the category where you've got to check inventory before you enter the final area just to make sure you have everything.
And we're good to go. Let's go finish the game, shall we?
What's your PB for this game?
I technically don't have one. I do, but I don't. I did the very first run of this category, and a new silver key was discovered later down the road, which invalidated it in terms of 100% requirements. So this will be a free PB, in other words, which is pretty cool.
Well, that's always nice.
Most definitely. This final level is somewhat involved, actually. It's pretty fun. There's 3 bosses left that we need to defeat, and also this level. One of them is the Gundam from earlier in the game.
It's true we don't get the soft lock.
I've never seen the soft lock happen on the second one, but that doesn't mean it can't happen, right?
I mean, I'm just assuming it can.
Same. I would assume it could as well. They seem to function similarly enough.
I mean, it should probably be tested, but you know. We'll cross that bridge when it's like no point crossing bridges that aren't built yet, you know.
Yeah, when it's more relevant, we'll get to it.
Yeah. I like this Gundam's design more. Like the colours are more appealing, the blacks and the golds.
Yeah, the first one sort of feels more like Gundam if Disney designed it.
Yeah.
Like its color scheme.
this feels more threatening and cooler. Which I guess is the point, because it's later in the game.
Well, we didn't get the soft lock for sure, so that's good.
That's good.
If he enters this sort of second phase, the phase where he's dashing around and he's gold, we're good to go. Oh, come on, give me the good form. Okay, we got the good form. You really don't want the other half of this enemy to survive during that. The other cycle you can get is really bad.
Yeah, that's a good point, PD. It's not too late to softlock during the cutscene glitch. Or like, well, not softlock, but huge time loss.
Alright, so there's the Gundam. Just realized my mouse is over the timer. Nice. Alright, moving on. We're coming into the final room of the game.
This room is a bit strange. I don't know how I feel about this room.
I've always hated this room. It's
I think it's the eyes on the wall.
For me,
it feels a bit.
For me, it's the rotating camera. I don't like the way that the camera it rotates with you, but not quite enough. If that makes any sense. So like, I feel like I'm always having to slightly like turn it every so often, and it's really irritating.
It's not the worst camera on the N64 though.
So we're gonna go ahead and equip the very final weapon that we got in the game, which is pretty useful. Excuse me? The hitbox on that switch is jank.
Yeah.
Alright, and here is the true well, not the true final boss, but kind of the hardest final, or the hardest boss of the end. The actual final boss is quite easy. This one is the more challenging of the bunch, for sure. First, we have to disable his barrier by using that special gun, and then we're gonna switch back to the grenade here. So if you notice, he keeps shrinking us with this sort of ray. It doesn't really hurt us, but there's a chance that if he hits it with us as he's dying, it actually soft locks the game, and we can't finish the game. But it soft locks it in a weird way. The game proceeds onward, and then it takes you to the true final boss, and then you just can't fight it because you can't use weapons when you're tiny. Like, the game just will never let you revert back to regular size. First time it happened to me, I actually lost a world record pace run in any percent with it, and I was very, very frustrated about it.
Are there any items that, like, reverse shrinking or anything, or is it just
nope.
a timer-based thing?
Actually, you know what? Now that you mention it, I wonder if you could use the shrink ray and negate that. I've never even thought of that. Which is sort of silly, but... Alright.
Because I suppose if it's on a timer, then shrink ray might just reset the timer. Still be slower, but... save runs.
Alright. And now we're going on to the true final boss. We've restored Noby's town, but for some reason we got to go back in time and defeat the final boss when it's still in its like larval form or something. I don't know. It's weird, really weird, convoluted story, honestly. But you hit him twice, and then he brings up his barrier, meaning we need to equip the purple gun, or I call it the purple gun, but the big
it's
gun.
Very Mega Man, sort of.
Yeah, very Buster gun
yeah.
kind of appearance. And we're basically finished with the game at this point. This boss is about to take his last breath here, and the time is when the screen fades fully to black. The boss is dead, he's gonna explode, kaboom!
Splish.
And time. Oh, 53 of 55. Honestly,
nice.
Not as good as I had hoped, but it's a PB, which is pretty cool. Interestingly enough, it's not only a PB because it's valid, but it's even faster than my previous PB, which collected less keys. So that's fun. The new route is just that powerful. But
crazy how much time that saves.
It's insane, isn't it? But thank you all for having me. I'll be back at about 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to run Starshot Space Circus Fever.
I hope I'm awake for that.
Definitely check out the Doraemon games. The whole trilogy is a lot of fun. We recently got an actual community server for the trilogy as well. Very helpful community. We have some pretty good guides and resources as well. And it's just overall really nice, welcoming community, and it might be small, but lots of discoveries to be made still, because it's kind of some uncharted waters as far as speedrunning goes as a whole. But yeah, we got more obscure speedrunning goodness coming up, and again, thanks for having me. Also, say bye, Sai. Yeah.
Bye, Sai.
Bye, Sai. This is sort of like a bonus mode in the game. And yes, these are individual level categories on SRC. Quite fun, honestly. There's a couple different tracks you can do. I forget what the world records are, but I know they all belong to P4FR. Well, as long as I'm here, we might as well do something. I'm still waiting for the all clear to end my stream and move on to the next run, but while I got y'all here, we might as well, I don't know, play more Doraemon. Wow, I never saved the game once. Fun. I see no reason to let things just sit idle. You know? In fact, let's go watch a cutscene. That sounds entertaining. I'm not entirely sure if the original voice cast reprised their roles in this game or not. I know that they did in the second Doraemon game on the 64, which is very evident. The second Doraemon game on the 64 is honestly a terrible speed game, and it's generally regarded as the worst of the trilogy, but all of the original voice actors are there. And you can tell that that's where they put the most of their budget when developing the game as well. Figure we might as well explore for a few moments, right? So this item here, which we never used during the run, revives dead characters. We never actually have to collect one because with the 100% requirements, you simply have to make sure that every space in the inventory has the item it's supposed to be displaying. And the game starts off with that automatically there. Let's collect one though, just for fun. Hooray. So let's go fight some stuff. What is next on the schedule, speaking of? Let's take a look. Let's see what we have coming up on the docket here. Looks like next up is The Quiet Man. I gotta be honest, that's a very interesting title for a game. By the lovely Epanwana? How would you pronounce that name? Not really sure. Well, a lot of fantastic games coming up. Supermarket Shriek, that's that's on the schedule as well. Also, those of you who haven't seen Rocket Robot on Wheels, excellent speed game. It'll be done by Broby tomorrow, and definitely looking forward to that. How do you pronounce your name? Hepenwana? Hepenwana? How's that pronounced, my friend? Hepen like weapon. You got it, my friend. You got it. I am still waiting on the all clear to cut my stream, but until I have it, I will gladly sit here and hang out with you, chat. Not a big deal at all. I want to fire up a different game, but let's not hijack it, right? We'll at least play the game that's on the schedule for me. But one glitch that I did during the run that I kind of just brushed over, actually I didn't even mention it, that it was even happening, is called slope jumping. And basically, you can, when you jump onto a slope, before your character slides off of it, an animation will play. And essentially, if you interrupt that animation with a weapon animation, like you know, an animation of just using any sort of weapon, it allows you to bypass that sliding animation. I'll show you guys what I mean right here. Notice how there it took us a second to slide. You can see we stand for a second and then slide. Notice how we can just infinitely shoot while standing on the slope, and you can jump out of that animation. So you can use that to sort of bypass some areas in the game, which is kind of fun. It comes in handy twice during the run, I think. There's definitely more potential for skips to be found in a game like this. I don't think I've ever seen a 64 game that's not, you know, broken in some way. Weirdly enough, though, there's no useful out-of-bounds glitches, which is something that I've always found unusual. And that's actually the case with Doraemon 2 as well, which, you know, I think I can count the amount of 64 games that have no out-of-bounds stuff on, like, one hand. This boss here is, well, it's more a mini-boss, I suppose. It's something that I also sort of glossed over during the run, but there's sort of a sweet spot you can stand in, like right here-ish, and the boss won't attack you, but you can just spam your weapon and defeat it, which I actually did it really well during the run. If you miss that sweet spot and you're like a little too far back, like here, or maybe too far to the right, like here, he will attack you. The musical note looks awfully familiar. What do you mean exactly? Elaborate. Anyway, this level has some interesting properties that we didn't really get into. The swimming in this game it's honestly not that bad. It controls pretty well. It's kind of like slow. It's also inverted, like with pilot controls, so down is up is down, which has never really bothered me. I'm sort of used to that, I guess, at this point. But there's some pretty weird collision in this stage as a whole. Also, we do have a breath meter on the top right there, but there's an item you can use to negate it. It's not really useful during a run. I've always found it weird how this back wall is just, like, walkable for no discernible reason. Like, there's just nothing you can do here. But even more strangely than that, there's sort of this area over here where, like, whoa, that was strange. There's sort of this area over here where the collision gets really, really kind of just wonky. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. Up on this wall, a lot of the collision here, and you'll notice like it sort of extends a lot further than what it should. And I've always sort of theorized that, see, like, look at this. Look at this. Look how much we're into the collision here. like what in the world is going on, man? But, I've always theorized that if we could find a way out of bounds in this level, we'd be able to skip going down into the hole over there where we got the key card earlier. And just skip straight through into the bottom. Not really sure if it's a thing that can happen or not, but certainly some potential there, probably. So does anybody have any suggestions for what to do while we're waiting for the next game? I am more than open to just running a different game, honestly. Don't want to totally take over the stream, but until my feed is cut, I, you know, want to do something. I don't want to just leave everybody hanging, naturally. Yeah, Doraemon's been around for a long time. A very long time. One of the older animes, if I'm not mistaken. I think 79 is correct, Sai. I'm pretty sure. Imagine if you could actually swim like that. Like just shoving your face into some dirt, like just like, oh. Part of me wonders if we could fire up some other short game and just run it really fast. Bonus run. I'm sure I could play through Comedian Twist in a few minutes. Although I don't think it meets the obscure quota of this marathon necessarily. Quite a few more than 15 runners on that leaderboard. Unfortunately, I can't show off characters we don't use because I didn't save during the run, so we don't have them anymore. Very unfortunate, I know. I do agree, though, that that would be... Actually, I know it's something I can do. Let's go farm some sprays. And I'll show off some of the other weapons. Yeah, I know, it's unfortunate. It costs time to save the game, and I just never saved the game during the run. Which, you know, just muscle memory. Had I saved, I could have definitely showed off a few more things than what I'm able to in this situation. We could do some more kart racing, for sure. But I'll tell you what we'll do for now. I'll show off some of these other weapons that we never actually got to utilize. I think that sounds fun. Some of them are really interesting, actually. Alright, let's start with... This one right here is probably one of my favorites. And then Sai actually talked about this one here. We talked about it a little bit during the run. Oh, we need another spray to redeem it. That's okay. Just, oh, dude, we shot each other's bullets out of the air. Alright, let's equip a different weapon here and let's see what we got. So this weapon here we used to actually use during the run for a skip. It's called the bouncy grenade. I don't really know what it's actually called, but check this out. It's pretty cool. What's really interesting is as soon as it touches any surface, it launches into the air, whether that surface be the ground or the wall. So you can do some pretty interesting stuff with it, which allows for a skip that we used to do, but the skip itself became obsolete. Like, we have a skip of a skip now. It's pretty fun. This weapon here is sort of just like a... You charge it up and it sort of makes like a circle of influence explosion on the ground, I guess, or like... Circle of influence, what am I saying? What's the AoE, area of effect? I guess that's the proper term. Some of the other weapons are, unfortunately, a lot less interesting to see. In particular, the gloves, which I suppose we'll get to those next. To actually equip the gloves. Jesus Christ. Well, I gotta say, I kinda like how it makes like a symbol in the center. Honestly, we've never even really tried to use the gloves during the run. It makes me wonder if it's potentially useful. Whoa, dude. Like, whoa! Like, the hitbox, like or not the hitbox, but like the animation for that didn't even, was it nowhere near that enemy. How did I hit that guy? What's the, dude, the range on that's way better than what I thought it was. This might be useful for some bosses. I might mess around with that later. Could be some strats there. That's the cool thing about these obscure speedruns in general is there's so few eyes on them in general that you never know. I mean, just about every new runner that pops up finds a new strategy. And even if it's little stuff, it all adds up, you know. One reason why I've always liked running games that don't really have your massive communities, you know, your Mario 64s and Halo 2s and all that stuff, because I just feel like there's a lot more discovery to be made in terms of not only strategies, but just interesting little stuff. Look at this enemy. Look at these guys. Oh, well, G.O., man. Wait, what? That's so weird. The animation is tied to your, like... Wait a minute. This gives me a crazy idea. Notice how the animation of the actual, like, punching itself comes downward with the character. It makes me wonder, since the Gundam boss is, like, separated into segments, it makes me wonder if, like, I could jump and then hit the top segment and the bottom segment at the same time to do more damage quickly. Of course, that could soft lock the game, but I don't know. I want to kill these grape things. Let's kill them with a bouncy grenade. That sounds fun. Kaboom! Alright. Go somewhere else. Level's boring again. We can do better. Let's go to... Actually, I know what to do. This will be a way to show you guys something you actually haven't seen. You get just a couple more sprays. How many do I have right now? I should have... Oh my god. 3? 4. Perfect. That's actually what I wanted. Was 4. Quattro. We're gonna go into this level, the level that you all couldn't see because it's too dark. And I'm actually gonna redeem the item that allows us to see. And show you the area. Seems an appropriate use time, right? You weren't missing much, to be fair. It's just a cave with a lot of uninspired geometry. I like how, and it's interesting because to me it always looks bright enough to see, and I'm watching the feed of the marathon itself right now as well, just to see, you know, when they cut me off of the thing, and it's interesting because it didn't really enhance much of the appearance at all. It was just kind of like, let's make this a darker brown, a lighter brown. You can menu insanely fast in this game, with a little bit of practice. Another thing that wasn't mentioned during the run is text boxes in this game are quite strange. You can't just mash through them as you would in some games. There's like a rhythm to it almost. You wait for a couple characters to appear on screen, and then you press A twice. It's really bizarre. It takes some getting used to. Whoa. Interesting. Well, at this point, we're about to beat World 1 again. Might as well be World 1 again. All that's left is the water level. And this one, but this level is super short. I'd love to figure out a drop table for this game and know exactly how and when an enemy is going to drop something versus not, but I honestly have no idea. It seems like it could be 50-50, but sometimes if I've taken damage, it feels like I get more hearts than not. But it's really hard to tell. Like, the results are just so inconsistent. It is worth mentioning, though, that enemies, while they can drop random stuff, these boxes that I destroy sometimes, those are set. Like, this box up here will always drop a heart, for example. And the two that over here will always drop sprays, and so on. Yeah, sure, let's go here. And keep in mind, we do have the option to play a different game. But I can't change the stream title or anything. So if we want that to remain accurate, we might not want to do that, but if y'all want to go rogue, we can. I'll leave that up to you. I'll leave that up to you guys. You know, we could see if we could get to the end of World 2, do some theory crafting. At this point, the stream is not even runs. It's let's do some testing. In theory, this area here might be a good place to farm sprays, because these rocket ships, you can destroy them and they drop either hearts or sprays. But it just takes so long to shoot them that it's honestly not really worth it. Actually, yeah, we're already there, PD. We might as well. For those of you wanting to know what PD4FR is talking about in chat, he had a bit of an idea during my run to save some time in the 100% category. Yeah, I'm gonna be real, I don't really know what, like, the ethical ramifications are for me just continuing to, like, play on stream, but I can't control what the game feed is. So, I don't want to just, like, leave, and because I'm assuming that the space that my gameplay would be in would just become a black screen, probably. What? Which one didn't I get? It must have been this one. That's all I can figure. Alright, let's just finish the level. Also, somebody said earlier that those music notes look familiar. I would love whoever that was to elaborate. What do they look like exactly? I'm curious as if I'm familiar with it and I just haven't noticed, or what. Oh nice, we made it straight up. Cool. It jumps not hard, but it's not free. Dude, look at this. I came to this level, killed the boss, but didn't collect the crystal. Oh, BK. Okay. Makes sense. All right, we got the last crystal. Let's head on out of here. All right, so what PD4FR was wondering is Noby moves a little bit faster. Normally we don't switch back to Noby in this level, we just stay as Doraemon. However, catching the platform cycle in the very last room after collecting the key could be easier as Noby because of the faster movement speed. So that would really only be useful for 100%, but a time save's a time save, right boys? Oh, we just I feel like that could be fast enough. Potentially catch that still yet. But I'm honestly not sure. Also, I apologize, I'm continuing to try and keep updated with the marathon situation here. Again, I hope I'm not being perceived as rude. I'm not trying to take over the stream by any means in this situation. Yeah, I agree, PD. I think it does seem possible. We should just be able to simply enter and exit. Is this switch still pressed? It's not. Perfection. So the cycle should be in the same spot. Cool beans. Oh yeah, dude. That'd be sick. Y'all see how smooth that was? instead of having to wait for it to come back down. That's a solid, like, 5 to 8 seconds, man. Like, that's a cool time save. I think you're right, PD. I think switching back to Noby will make that more catchable. I just wonder if we can do it as Doraemon as well. So let's test it. Let's test it and find out. We might as well, right? I'm very glad that the switch resets when you enter and exit as well. That's quite convenient. Ding. Oh god, Doraemon, you're so slow. Okay, yeah, Doraemon's not going to be able to do it. Yeah, play it back with the new strategy. I also know nothing happened. I'm just waiting around. Gotta hurry up and wait. You know what? Let's just fight the boss. Let's just continue the game. We might as well. Dude, same. The Quiet Man sounds pretty cool. Whatever it is. I think I might start calling all the weapons in this game Heppins. This feels like a weirdly cultural moment to me right now, like a obscure speedrun cultural moment. Y'all remember that one time that the marathon just like got all weird and part of me wonders if I should play another game, but yay. All right, we're gonna do only punching glove for anything else we do. Might as well. Dude, yeah, from now on they're Heppins. We go to, ooh, I got something really cool I can show you guys actually. Now I think about it. This level's got some interesting stuff in it. I could try. It's one of those things that's hard to do on purpose, though. And I'd have to get to it as well. But as far as more content goes... check this thing out. Big old sand lizard dragon thing. Kaboom! You can kill this thing as well, but it's a little tricky. First time I saw that thing, I pretty much crapped my pants. I was like, whoa! You don't really see it during the run because we kind of go around all of its spawn points. And we don't go around them to avoid it either, it's just faster to do so. But you can see how, like, down in this sand pit here, there's something kind of sneaking up out of here. Let's go down in here and take a look. Oh no, it's whatever this thing is. Just takes 2 hits, and it always drops a golden heart, which full heals you. I think those hearts are actually called, like, heart fruit. And if you look closely, they do have a little stem on them as well, kind of like an apple would. Here's an interesting little skip. You know what? Hold on. Wait, do I have any sprays? I do. Nice. Just in case we're stuck here for a bit, because you never know. Might as well just kind of continue to actually play the game as well. So we can see more of the game. Also, I would love for somebody to explain to me how a first aid kit revives a robot. Like, is the first aid kit, you know, it's it's got all your usual stuff, you know, antiseptic, band-aids, AA batteries, like AA batteries, a set of jumper cables. Yeah, the defibrillator, that makes sense. Starts it right back up. Where was I gonna go? Let's go here. So there's an interesting skip you can do here that's very difficult. It's easier later, but later makes no sense. You can, instead of riding this platform, and this is something that hasn't even been implemented in any percent yet, you can come up here, and you can actually jump across instead of riding the platform. Not the easiest jump in the world, though, as you can tell. So it's not something that's been implemented into runs yet at all. Ah! Taking damage. Bro. The spray was a trap. Well, at this point, we might actually get to test the Gundam. Oh, you didn't know about that jump, PD? Yeah, it's a pretty cool one. It's easier later because that little pixie thing that's in the way isn't there when you return to the stage. And oh no, we're gonna die! Dun 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 dun. I wonder. You're kidding me. That's broken as hell. I didn't even know that. Learning something every day. You can just reset it by switching characters. That makes sense. Oh man, I'm too hot. You walk in front for a little bit so I can not die in lava. Like, what? Game logic. The bouncy grenade side? Or the, yellow towel thing that explodes? Which one are you talking about? Wait. How would I not take damage there, man? I was like all the way up against that thing. I'm not sure. Actually. It has collision. That's a good question. Good question. Oh my. I gotta be real, that's a pretty radical question. Lucky for us, I think this might be a good spot to test it actually. So let's find out. The question being, chat. I want to make sure nothing can damage me though. The question being, chat, this item here, it's essentially a grenade, and it bounces like a bouncy ball. Watch. Boing. I don't think so, Sai. No. Doesn't seem like it has collision. It was a good question. Oh. Might as well look around. See what else we can find. I've personally never been a fan of this level. This level's always had a very, specific, weird kind of way about it, I suppose, is the best way to express it. Oh, speaking of weird stuff, here's where the old skip was with the bouncy grenade. If you come up here, you can see at the... Oh my god, get out of here. Okay, if you look here, at the top of the screen, right above where my head is, you can see like a vent up at that top platform, but there's also a button on the wall. For a long time, we thought that that button was needed. You can see it up there. You can actually hit it like so. The explosion's just big enough to actually contact the button. That was a skip that we used for quite a long time in the run, until we figured out that you could skip the skip as well, which, you know, useful. Okay. Sure, game. Sounds good. Well, as fate would have it, we've made it to the second boss level. We're halfway through the game again, casually. So that's fun. So a fun skip here, I didn't even really talk about it during the run. The way this area is normally supposed to work is, if you look, there's like buttons on the center of this platform, and you press them, and this platform turns, depending on which one you press. In order to be able to actually we're not going to farm. In order to be able to actually press them, you have to get these like crystals. You can actually skip all of them though. The point of the crystals is to get over to that platform across the way. There's a switch you can hit, but you can actually just hit the switch with a basic grenade throw by sort of jumping in that direction and throwing a grenade, and it bypasses the need to do all the puzzles entirely, which is pretty cool. It was one of the first skips found in this game. Nowhere near as tricky as it looks either. Well, we've made it to the Gundam, so we might as well test the theory, I guess. Fun fact, the item I just used is called Clouds in a Can. And for those of you wondering what it is, it's clouds in a can. Okay, whoa! That was weird. There we go. You know, let's go ahead and redeem this weapon too. Is it the same as the other weapon in terms of... Oh wow, it's not. It's just like a smaller version. Why would you even use this weapon? Oh, it's like... Is it like a delayed explosion or something? Like, why would you even use that versus this other one? This other one seems to just be... Yeah, whatever. Get out of here. No, let's let it move around a little bit. Let's see what you... Can you hurt this? Can you hurt the head here? Hold on a minute. Is that a thing? Let's just equip a different weapon. Let's go for gun. Straight up pistol. Watch out! Here comes tiny elementary school kid with a pistol. You can shoot the head. I wonder if there's an advantage to doing that. Some sort of decided advantage to it. Alright, let's equip the grenade. Let's end this. We gotta blow this popsicle stand. Also, I like how there's just like a sweet spot you can stand in here and never take damage. Bro, he's gonna do it again. He's gonna do his second golden phase. It's Lord. Cringe. Okay. Go to your second phase, my buddy. My guy. There's a really... We don't really know why it happens. We would love to know as a community. But there's a quick kill you can get where as soon as he enters this phase, you hit him once and he just dies. We don't really know... there it was, sort of. We don't really know how or why that's a thing. So, any video game sleuths want to dig into that and figure out what's up with that, that'd be great. We could make that consistent. But, we're halfway through the game, folks. For no discernible reason. How many sprays do I have? Can we even technically beat the game? 7. Yikes. We need more sprays. Let's still get a couple. Bum, bum, bum. I like this. I like the music in this level, but the level itself, I don't know. It's very liminal space kind of feeling to me. Like there's not, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like a real place or something. Got a vibe about it. That just sort of in that uncanny valley area, you know. Let's switch. Oh, ooh, no, let's not switch characters yet. Let's go back up. Boing. That's what I wanted. We want to set this loading zone as like the de facto loading zone that we'll be warped back to, and we'll sack Noby. Farm a few sprays so we can continue the game and not worry about it. Say, maybe 4 farms, extra 20 sprays, that should do the trick, right? Yeah. Uno mas. The farming parts of the run, even in any percent, used to just be terribly egregious. It's really cool that they're very short now, comparatively speaking. Alright, let's get out of here. Switch over to Sneech. Play as our fast character. Interestingly enough, in the first Doraemon game on the 64, their characters do have different properties. Like, Sue has the highest jump, Sneech runs the fastest, but in Doraemon 2, the characters are entirely identical, with the exception of a very small buff that they get depending on which weapon you have equipped. I don't think that buff applies in this game, or rather, if it does, it's not something that is documented. Alright. We're moving right along. Let's check out somewhere else though that we haven't been. Let's go to Alligator Town. There's a kind of an interesting area you can go to in this level. Right here, this sort of well you can jump down in. It actually takes you to a second loading zone. It's just full of these sort of crystals. These crystals, you can trade them with one particular NPC for heart items. So they're not useful for even 100%. They're completely worthless. Whoa, hold up a minute. That's really weird the way that loading zone looks. Is there even a fade in? There's not. That's really bizarre. The game just was like, It's just like, boop, and you're just like back. Like, there's no screen transition of any kind. That's really strange to me. Yeah, let's go here. There's actually some pretty cool stuff in this level that we don't really ever get to see. And it's interesting, in the 100% run, you'll notice we collected a lot of keys. And the keys serve a very specific purpose in the game. They open treasure chests, but there's no way to track the treasure chests. So as such, we decided that it made more sense to simply just keep all of the keys. Which I think makes sense, right? Like, we can track the amount of keys we have here, but not the amount of chests that have been opened. For example, if you have 5 silver keys and you open 5 silver chests, you now have 0, but no way to show that you've actually used them. So have you collected 0 keys or used 5 keys? There's no way to discern between the two. There's some pretty cool stuff in this level, too, that sort of falls to the wayside. There's a frog dude right here, this guy. I forget what item it is, but if you use an item on him, he'll go out in this water, and he'll actually eat all these little, like, tadpoles or whatever they are. And if he eats them all, you get a golden heart. So nothing too special, but neat. It's weird, man. Most of the extra content in this game doesn't give you any sort of, like, buffs or anything. It's just consumable items that you can get much easier. Oh my god, Humpty Dumpty's chasing me around. Look at that animation. It's so weird looking. Let's kill it. Explodes into a beetle. Sure. From egg to isopod. A Humpty story. I gotta say, out of all the sentences I've ever said, that was certainly one of them. Oh, I forgot to talk to the girl in the level. Let's just go back in. So, weirdly enough, we're almost back through the game again. We've more or less beaten the game. We're going into the last world here in just a minute. So, nice. I think I'm an hour. Yeah, my run ended like an hour ago. Jeez. Does anybody know what's happening? Alright, yeah. I wonder if there's any way we can actually move this along without the tech staff. Let me think. I wouldn't know how to actually get another feed onto the stream. Yeah, same happened. Like, if I knew a way to just, like, even superimpose one of your guys' streams or something over this, I would, but I have access. I would certainly. Hmm. Oh. Hey. We in there. Cool. Cool beans. Sorry about that. My internet just randomly tanked for no apparent reason. Welcome to living in the boonies. Sometimes that happens, folks. We still don't know what's going on with the marathon. As such, it's probably not recommended that I do a browser capture from my end. But if we can get in touch with Speed Gaming themselves, I'm certainly willing to help run through some of this and make sure that this whole thing doesn't crash and burn on us. That being said, what do y'all say we play something different? We might as well. Let's see. Internet is definitely going to internet sometimes, right? Do anybody got any? We got a few options on here, right? We could do chameleon twist. that's really it, actually. I mean, I own some other games, but as far as just what I have on hand right now, that's one of the better options. Hey, I got an idea. We're doing Doraemon. So, let's do more Doraemon, but let's do a little switcheroo on us here. What do y'all say? You're gonna see a nice blue screen.